Good morning, everyone. My name is Shilpa, and I welcome you all to the CPP India user group community. Thank you for joining in for today's session. Before we get started with the session, let me give you some basic intro about what the community is all about and how you can interact with the community. This community is for all those people who are interested in learning C++ language or are looking to upgrade their skills or knowledge about the language. It provides you with a common platform so wherein you can share your ideas or discuss your problems with the community. Regarding as to how you can interact with the community, so we have a Discord channel for that. The link for joining the Discord channel must have already been received on your email when you had registered for these sessions. If you are not able to find the link, please reach out to me, Dheeraj or Vishal, and we can help you out. We also do post puzzle questions from time to time on our Discord channel, wherein you would have to guess what's the output of the program or what's wrong with the code snippet. In this way, either you would be learning something new or you would get a revision of one of your concepts that you have learned. So do join our Discord channel to get your weekly dose of C++. One last thing that I would like to mention is that post this session, you will get a feedback form. Please spare a few minutes to fill the feedback form so that we can improve these sessions for you. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank each and every individual for providing their feedbacks on our previous sessions. Thank you so much. That's it from my side. Let's begin with the actual session for which we have all joined in. Today we have Mahendra here who will give some insight into the STD string view which was introduced in C++ 17 standard. Mahendra has more than 7 years of software development experience and is currently living in Bangalore city. Without any further ado, let me hand over to Mahendra.
STD string, uh, even though let's say it might not be required. So someone might suggest that, okay, we are not modifying here the string parameter which we are taking. So why to pass it as a value? And can we pass it as a constant reference or reference, something like that? So let's say, take this as an example now. Here we have made this as a const std string ampersand. So now in this first call, there is no copying happening and nothing wrong is going here. So basically then it works perfectly fine. Performance is also good. But in such scenarios, we most of the time ignore scenarios like call to. So what is happening in call to? I'm passing here const char star. But what function is expecting here? It's expecting const std string ampersand, basically const reference to string. So there will be a conversion from this const char star to std string. So basically the allocation will happen. Now actually the problem is not with the allocation or creating some temporary objects. We might live with that also, as long as that are getting created on stack. But the problem with string is the contents might get stored on heap. So there you need to create a request to operating system, then operating system will do memory allocation on heap, then it has to do some bookkeeping and then it will return. This creates a more problem when you are working in a multi-threaded environment where the operating system might be able to just give you a one thread and you have user defined threads on your side. So that time also it will create a performance problems. So what we can do a better here? So that's when this std string view was kind of needed and introduced. So this is what we talked about. So problem with the temporary strings, allocation on heap. So this allocation on heap might be sometime kind of get rid of using the SSO. So those who don't know SSO, it is a small string optimization. So compilers are very good at doing the optimization. So what they thought, instead of going to heap, if the string is very small, can we reserve something in the string class itself, some buffer, and we just allocate it on a stack. So some buffer of 20 characters or 30 characters. But if string is large enough, then you have to always go to heap. And then unnecessary, the last part is the copying of data, where it was not needed. But in our last example, as we made it const std ampersand, then in some cases we avoided copying of data. So now let's look into what is string view. So this is the definition which I have took from CPP reference. So it's what it reads: the class template basic string view describes an object that can refer to a constant contiguous sequence of char-like objects. So this is important thing here. It should be a constant contiguous sequence, right? And what is the next one? It's a non-owning read-only view into a subsequence of a string. So it can be entire string or it can be a part of string. Implementable as either a pair of pointers or a pointer and length. So basically a start of the view and end of a view. So end of view can be achieved by having a second pointer, or you can just keep a length, because it's a contiguous sequence. So as we have mentioned, it's introduced as a part of C++17. So now let's look into the construction, then we'll open for some questions if you have. So this is the first constructor, kind of default constructor. What it does, so in C++17 standard, most of the compilers have implemented string view as a pointer to start and a length. So in this case, it will assign this pointer to data as a null pointer, and length will be 0. Good. This is our classical example of a copy constructor. Nothing wrong here or nothing great here. What it will do, it will basically copy the data pointer and the length. It will not copy the content where it is pointing. So it's kind of a shallow copy. The third constructor is a derived, which accepts const char star and size. Basically, it accepts the length. So you can specify a long length also, a long string also, and you can just, if you want to create a string view of some 5-6 character, you can specify size it. And now this fourth construct is somewhat pretty interesting. So what is happening in the fourth constructor? It is just accepting the const char star. Then what it does, it iterates on that const char star and find out the length. So the requirement for this fourth constructor is this const char star, whatever we are passing here, should be null terminated. In the first 3 examples, we don't have any condition with the null termination. That is, even the third case, we don't need to have it as a null terminated string. But fourth, we need to have it as a null terminated. Okay. And then last one is the iterator based constructor, where this basically iterates over and find out the length. The one thing here, everyone needs to take care that whatever these iterators are pointing to, it should be pointing to a contiguous sequence. Okay. So before going to next slide, any question?
So hi, what happens in case if the things are not contiguous? If the programmer tries to do some mischief and try to do some wrong things, so does the compiler catch it, or what happens? It's an undefined behavior, is it?
It's an undefined behavior.
Okay. Thank you.
Even if you see in the fourth case, const expr basic string view const char star t, let's say if you pass null pointer here, C++ standard says they had a lot of argument here, I think, and they still call it as a undefined behavior. it might happen that sometimes you will not always get an undefined behavior, but there are chances to get an undefined behavior.
Hi, Mahendra.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was this one issue you discussed that it will cause a problem in multi-threaded environment. So do you have a code snippet or some sort of an example where that was used, and what could the problem be?
So I don't have a code snippet here.
Ah.
So what problem I was talking about, it was not from the error or some undefined behavior. It is from the performance perspective. So for example, you are running multi-threaded environment, but the thread are user-defined threads, like programming level thread, but it's not an operating system level thread. So what will happen if you know the computer architecture and operating system? Multiple user level thread will get mapped to a single operating system thread. So in that context, what it might happen that when the operating system thread is doing something else, and then you try to allocate a memory, it causes a little bit of performance overhead, and it might give you some problems there in terms of performance and not in terms of correctness.
Yeah, okay, understood. So it is again going back to the whole allocation issue only.
Yes.
Yeah, so okay.
Yes,
Thanks, Mahendra.
Mahendra, there is one more question in the chat window. Let me read it out for you. Does the constructor check if it is a random access iterator in constructor? I mean, the last case.
No. Again, I'm not sure on that, but the requirement of this constructor said that if it is not a random access related thing, then the behavior is basically undefined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mahendra, you are saying that it is not possible to have a string view with null PTR as the data?
It can have, but C++ standard here, gets a little bit defensive and say that, okay, that behavior is undefined. So you can initialize that. So basically what this first basic string view does, it internally points, there's a null pointer thing. But then if you try to do some operation, it doesn't guarantee you that everything will work like good. It might create a problem. But again, when actual implementation of library will be done, then their compilers will not always, if they are, that is possible that, okay, they can detect an error, they will do that.
In my opinion, if you just use one of the supplies constructors, which is equivalent to constructing it with null PTR, should be okay and handled.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. It will be okay and it will be handled, but C++ standard doesn't mandate that it should be handled.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to next slides. So what is the interface of string view looks like? So what the standard committee or the author who proposed this std string view thought it make it to a little bit more equivalent to a const std string ampersand, so that people can adopt it easily. So most of the interface of const std string and std string view is similar. Basically at, front, back, data, and operator. So I'll not get into the details of what these functions do. We can go and refer to CPP reference, but most of the interface is same. But it has a additional functionality like a remove prefix and remove suffix. So let's look into these two cases. What is this remove prefix and remove suffixes? So let's say this is a code snippet, okay, and the message is this is very, very long string something. And I have created a string view here using a string, and now I'm doing some operation here, remove prefix 5 and remove suffix 7. So what this remove prefix does, it removes the first 5 characters, and remove suffix removes the last 7 characters. Once again, if you pass something which is out of range, let's say the string is very small and you try to pass something out of the range, compiler doesn't check and it doesn't do a lot of things here, and you will get into a basically undefined behavior. Okay. So what it will print here, basically it will just print is very, very long. So how does it do it internally? So basically it's manipulating the data pointer and it's manipulating the length. That's it what it is doing. So this operation is pretty straightforward and kind of done in a big O of n. So any question on this slide?
Mahendra, do we have any overloads of remove prefix? Let's say I want to pass a string, this, or I mean, for consider, let's say for this example, I want to pass as this string, and it will remove that particular by matching those characters.
No.
Okay.
Mahendra, I got a feeling that I got a feeling so far that basically string view is a substitute to const ref. Does that still hold, or am I going wrong?
In general, you can say that it is a substitute, but not in all the cases.
Okay, but in this case, the one that we are looking in the slide, it is by value. The message is assigned to message view by value. So when we are doing the remove prefix and remove suffix, we are not altering the content of the message, right?
Exactly. Yes. So here,
okay.
So here you can, if you try to put it here, const reference, you will not be able to achieve something like this, right?
Okay. So we have to be careful as to which context this will behave as a const ref, and in which context it's a total value semantic. So we have to be careful there. Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are some more examples we will encounter going forward, and then we will see how the behavior of string view is there, and then we have special slide when we talk about const string and string view. Okay. So,
cool. Thanks.
Anand, something specifically which I would like to point out is this is a replacement. It can be a replacement for C strings, but it can actually hold any string even if it is not null terminated, and which could be it could even point to something which std string points to, which is the case in line 2 here, and anything else where there is, even if you got a buffer from the network, you can point from a position up to a position. So it could be any part of any contiguous memory.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like C++ way of having a char pointer. C char pointer.
Yeah. The problem with passing pointer is you lose the knowledge of the size of how many characters, and this one will maintain it.
Okay. Thank you. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
Mahendra.
So you mentioned that if we pass a length greater than the length of the message, we'll get undefined behavior. So is it undefined behavior or assertion from the library?
It's undefined behavior. So if you do it in release mode, basically then there will be no assertions to be in the undefined mode. Again, it depends on library to library implementations, but standard says it's undefined behavior.
To pass the size less than what the message greater than. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
believe creating the string view will not be undefined behavior, but accessing those bytes beyond how much you have is undefined.
Yes. So we'll start with the next slides, and then if you still have some questions or discussion, we can take at the end of the sessions. Okay. So let's talk about the convergence here. So this is a table which says that what are the conversions allowed directly or indirectly. So we all know that, right? Const char start to std string is a non-explicit constructor. Then similarly for const char start to std string view also, it's a non-explicit constructor. When we want to convert from std string to std string view, then it's not a constructor. There is no constructor available for that, but there is a conversion operator which is written, which does this thing. And so I want to highlight the last case here, the conversion from std string view to std string. So if you see here, these are kind of non-explicit converter, constructor, and even conversion operator also you don't have to explicitly invoke, it will get invoked explicitly, but implicitly. But why this constructor is explicit constructor here? String view to string. The reason behind this is when you are converting from string view to a string, the actual content will get copied. So the allocation will happen on a heap. And once you are using a std string view, that's what you try to avoid. That's why you are using std string view. And if you do it implicitly, then it defeats the purpose of string view. That's why user needs to know, the developer needs to know that, okay, you are doing the conversion from source to destination, and you have to mention it, you have to express that. So that's why the conversion is explicit here. Let's look into some assignment and compare semantics. So this is first Atto S1. This is tricky. And this SV is nothing but a string literal. So it will say that, okay, now create object of type string view. Then there is this S2, which is created, and I'm assigning S1 here. And once again, there is this S3. The strings are same for S1 and S3. So let's look what we are doing here. We are trying to compare S1 and S2 and S2 and S3. So what is the result at the end? So can anyone want to guess this, the result of res1 and res2? Okay. So what happens here? The comparison, whatever comparison we are doing, the comparison is a deep. So it will actually compare the strings and not the pointers. Whereas the assignment, what we are doing here, it is a shallow. So basically, when we are doing the assignment here, S2 to S1, only the pointers and length is getting copied. But when we are trying to compare S1 to S2 or S2 to S3, the comparison is deep. We are basically comparing string to string, character by character. So both will result into true. So this is anyhow, this is very simple because we are here doing the assignment, should be same. But this one was tricky, S2 and S3. But as the string is same, it will result into true. Any query here? So moving to the next slide. So now let's look into the example where the const std string ampersand and std string view differs. So this is an example, again a try example where I am returning a very, very long string. You guys might be wondering why I am returning always a long string, because there will be some problems in strings and that you cannot detect if you have small strings, because small string optimization might be able to work properly and it works. But when you do actual heap allocation and that in that time you will find very pretty, you will find interesting errors there. So what we are doing in the call one, we are assigning const std string ampersand, here the return value of get string. So here this string, whatever the return value, the object is temporary, but the lifetime of that object got extended because we have assigned it to a const reference. So this is the lifetime extension example here. So here you will get the correct answer, a very, very long string, no problem. But in second case, when you are assigning this temporary to string view, the lifetime of object is not extended, and the temporary string to which this str view is pointing is now destroyed. So this std view is pointing to some memory which is unallocated. Someone might be using it now. We don't know what is happening. The best case, what can happen here is, it crash at this moment only. But if your program doesn't crash at this moment, then debugging such problem is a nightmare. Okay. So this is correct, but this is not correct. So one advice from my side here is, even though the first call is correct, one should not too much dependent on lifetime extensions, because when we do a code refactoring, that point of time we might have a problem. So let's say someone was thinking that, okay, I can replace const std string ampersand with the string view, and he just went and replaced here, and then he will hit a bug here. So this is one difference which we can see here. Any query here?
Mahindra, I have one query regarding the second call. Do we get any compiler warning or something that we are trying to do over here, or any flag which we should use while compiling our program?
So there are some now checks which are getting added into compilers to basically do memory checking and all these things. So again, it depends on compiler to compiler. C++ standard doesn't comment anything about that. So Clang might give you some warning. Then there are Clang sanitizers also you can run, and then you can find such problems. But again, it depends on how the compiler implements these things. But yeah, there are tools available to find out such errors.
Okay, but C++ standard as such doesn't give any warning.
Yes, C++ standard says it's undefined behavior. That's
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Mahinder, one question. Can we do modification in getString function that it will be always giving the proper answer instead of dependent on the call?
Depending on the call, no. Basically, you cannot overload a function to return string view or something like that, right? So whatever this example I am presenting where getString is, I'm presenting this in the intention that, okay, there is a problem you are returning by value, and then how you are catching the things. So yeah, there might be a case where you will be able to get rid of such errors, at least not in this case, but it will not be always possible, and you will unnecessarily make your code a little bit complicated
Okay, thanks.
to understand.
Thanks.
Now let's look into one more interesting problem. So again, here a long string, and then there are these two variables I have created. One is const string reference, and another is normal string view. And now let's say I've done some changes into this message, and I assigned it, what do you think? So I'm trying to print this message now. This is basically the const std string ampersand. What do you think? What will get printed? Anyone?
What do you think? The new message.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sorry, there is a small mistake there. I think line number 2.
Sorry, this is message.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for pointing this. But yeah, it will not print the correct value. Why? Because this const std string ampersand is pointing to some memory locations, and again, this is not well-defined behavior. If the original value is getting changed, then this reference doesn't guarantee you everything correctly. You might get a problem there. And similarly with the string view also. In both the cases, the behavior is undefined.
But Mahendra, in the first cout, which is printing the MSG, is it still, why is it undefined behavior?
So again, that's what I have read from C++. I tried to do it on the Clang, but here I was getting correct for this. It's message. This is very, very long string I was able to print. But what C++ standard I was reading into one of the Stack Overflow, it says that if you have a const reference here, then you might end up getting undefined behavior if the underlying value is getting changed. This message is getting changed, then C++ doesn't guarantee it. Standard doesn't guarantee. Again, I can confirm on this on more details, but I'm not that much sure on this line. This is what I read it from Stack Overflow. But on this message view, it is pretty clear because you are trying to change the value of message and it is pointing to this memory. And here the memory allocation will happen once again. The underlying memory is no longer the same. And then you will get an undefined behavior because here we are directly storing the pointers.
Yeah, I actually thought it was okay, but line 2 would give you a problem.
Yeah, message view will definitely give you a problem. This is what I read on a Stack Overflow, that this will give you a problem, but when I tried to run it on Godbolt, I never encountered a problem. Does anyone have any answer for this?
I would say that the standard took a very defensive position there, said that, okay, maybe there is SSO happening there, it will work fine. But the cases where it is heap allocated, that the pointer could be pointing to anywhere. So since there is a heap involved, so they will say that, okay, it is undefined behavior. I mean, it is left to the compiler to do what it wants to do with it.
And I think when we try to implement a code, again, just a little bit advice, we should stick to C++ standard, even though this is working for my particular case, but tomorrow on someone's machine, it might not work.
No, I guess there is no problem with the compiler here or the behavior here, right? See, I can refer to another string as a reference. So MSG is just a reference. So whatever happens to that message will keep on reflecting in MSG. But when you reassign in line 3, MSG view is there, and then you reassign in line 4 to a C string or a const char array, then the message now points to this, what do you think, which is allocated and placed by the compiler at a certain place. And that's why you will see that the second print will print, what do you think? But the first one should be okay, because first one says I'm a const referring to whatever message is referring to. So it should not go wrong there.
I can confirm on this more, and I will post it on our Discord channel, what my behavior, what I have seen, and what things I referred. So in the interest of time, we'll just go to the next slide, but surely we'll take this into consideration. Thanks for pointing this. Yeah. Now look into the containers. Should we store string view into the containers, right? So let's say this is a std vector, this element. So this example I had taken from one of the presenter from a CPBcon. So what will happen here? It will do the conversion, silent conversion, no warning, nothing. Const std string ampersand element will get converted to string view and will store a string view. But if we are not guaranteeing that whatever this element is pointing, it's outlived this elements vector, then you have a problem once again, because you are pointing to some location which is destroyed. The memories might be used by someone else and you might end up in a crash. So again, we need to be careful when we are doing such things. So the advice here is don't store string view into a vector or any container in that matter. Don't do that. So this implicit conversion will not get any warning, nothing. So the advice here is don't store anything. You can end up holding onto freed memory, basically temporary strings. Let's look into another example. So what we are doing here, instead of storing a string view, we are storing a string. And now we have written this small function get frequency, and it tries to now this function takes a string view. So the problem with this code is this find function expects std string, right? If you know the containers, then it expects at the one of the key or value things, when we are working on the different functions. Based on that, it might expect the type of whatever the parameter. It might be a type of key or type of the value. So here it expects it to be std string, but we are passing string view, and we have seen that string view to string there is no implicit conversion. So here it will be a compilation error, right? So this is a compilation error. So how we can solve this problem? So there is something called as transparent comparators in C++, and then you can just use it here, and this will solve your problem. So what basically transparent compilers are doing, so they have this, there is another implementation of find, which is a templarized implementation, and now that will get invoked. And this keyword here will go as a string view inside, and at the last moment when the operations, the comparison is happening, or where this is getting used, then we will be having string view on one side and string on another side. And there is a operator defined for less than or greater than for a string and string view. So you will have no problem here. So any query on this slide? Okay, moving ahead. Again, so this is, let's say, a part one. We are talking here about string view literals. So let's say I am creating a string view by using a const char star, and then the literal specified here is a s. So when s is a literal, that means it's a string. So what will happen here? The string object will get created, and this will be a temporary object. After this expression, there is no meaning for this temporary object. It will get destroyed, and this string view will be pointing to again the temporary objects. So again a problem here. So this will be again a runtime error. Will not get any problem while doing a compilation. You will not get even a warning might be in the compilation. Let's look into the second part. This is a little bit interesting. So as someone in the discussion pointed out that, you know, string view doesn't expect strings to be null terminated, but const char star and the string expects it. So what will be the output here? So here, if you see here, it's a basically const char star. So one of the constructor will get executed here, which accepts const char star, and that's it only, because we are not passing any size or anything here. And then it will run string length function here, and string length will return 3, right? Because the string is here null terminated, it will not bother anything here. So S2 size will be 3 only. But when you're trying to do it with the string literal SV, then it will count correctly and it will have 8. So basically it's ABC 3 characters, and these are 2 characters. So S3 dot size. One thing which we have to be very careful, that there are all these C functions, like in functions like printf or string length, which expect that whatever string or const char star we are passing, it's a null terminator. So we should be very careful when we are passing string view to these functions. We should ideally not use it, but if you are using it, then we should be very careful. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So we are coming almost to the end of presentation. So this is the summary when to use a string view. So you should use a string view when passing as a parameter to a function. Basically, you are doing something into a function. You are not changing something. Just want to do some operations. For example, someone pointed out that if you are getting some string from a network, or let's say you are having some configuration which coming from a file and you want to parse that, in such cases, your string is not going to change. In that case, you can use just a string view to pass it to a functions also, and store the contents. Again, returning from a function, this case is very useful when we have this parsing mechanism, the configuration is coming from file, underlying data is not changing, then we can also even return from the function. When returning from function, we need to be very, very careful that we are not holding on some temporary strings. And last one, which summarizes all of this, is basically a reference to a part of a long-lived data structure. So in these two cases also, it should be be live enough so that we can use that string view. So you might have noticed there are a lot of simple examples where we might end up holding temporary pointers or temporary reference to something when using a string view. So we need to be very, very careful about these things. So basically references and temporary objects. And one thing which we need to be take care about, non-null terminated strings and null terminated strings. And when we are doing the convergence into a string, such operations should be very, very carefully done. So again, if you have followed this presentation, then you might have seen that string view is not something very magic or something they have introduced in a language. Someone can just basically build a library, right? And this is again a C++ library. So people are using it from a long time. For example, if you don't have C++ 17 at your disposal, you can use any one of this library, basically BCL. You can use string paste from Google. There is a string reference from LLVM. There is string reps from Boost. From Facebook, you have something like range. So these are some alternatives to string view. And most of them now follow the interface of what we have right now in string view. So earlier string reference had some different kind of interface, but they have also now adapted to the standard string view. At last, I just want to cover some performance related things here. So I've read this article. It was a really nice article which was comparing std string and string view. So it compared operation like substring, splitting the string, and the implementation is based on let's say iterators, and splitting a skint which is based on the raw pointers. So let me just go through this. So I have had that whatever this you can see here, these are links actually, and this is the link to the article, and these are linked to the benchmarks. So this is a first benchmark, basically substring, and you can here clearly see the results. Here it is basically 6.9 times faster for string view. Why? Because it will do operations in big of n, but it will do operation in big of 1, and here it will take big of n might be. Here basically just have to adjust 2 pointers always. There is another benchmark which talks about a string split. So here in the last example, if you see here, there is a very clear-cut difference between a string and string. But if you see here in the string split case, there is not that much difference, and again string view is taking somewhat more time, a little bit more, but yeah, it's not like always string view might end up getting very good results, and it varies based on compiler to compiler and use case. So we cannot 100% or always quantify that the string view will be 10 times faster or 100 times faster as compared to string. So we need to be very, very careful when you are using a string view or when you want to use a string. This string split implementation was based on the iterators. There is a similar implementation, but which was done using kind of raw pointers. And here you will see string view wins on string. So here the overhead of normal iterators were quite more, which influenced both string and string view, and then it came along the same line. So that's it from my side. I just want to end this presentation with a quote that the standard library saves programmers from having to reinvent the wheel. So you have a lot of things you can implement, and I have seen people implementing their own thing. But if it is available in standard library, please use it. Your code will be more portable. Compiler will be aware about a lot of things, and they might do some little bit of optimization there also. So don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to implement everything from the scratch. So that's it from my side, and we still have some more time. We can take some questions here.
To summarize, Mahendra, from my understanding, so we have to make sure that although string views are allocatable, we have to use them in context where we are basically pointing to an already allocated string. That will be the idiomatic usage of string view, and we should not use string view to actually create strings. Do I make sense in understanding string view, or have I got something wrong?
No, exactly. So
okay,
that's the purpose of string view, that you already have something in the memory and you just want to point it to. You just don't want it to use the constant string ampersand due to some problems. So that's why the string view came. I think that's correct summarization.
Thank you. Okay.
If you don't have any questions, then Shilpa, you can take over. Thank you, everyone.
I guess, guys, I just wanted to point out that taking arguments as string view is a very good optimization that we can aim for. Am I audible? I think I'm audible.
Yes, Ankur.
Yeah. So it's a good optimization to have. So if you have a std string, it can be pointed to and referred to by a string view. If you have a C style string, it can still be referred to by the string view, and you can pass a C style string. If you have a non-null terminated sum buffer, even that, by providing the pointer and a length, you can still pass it around as a string view, because essentially internally it is just a pointer and a length, and you get all the interface that you get on a string. So it's a very good optimization in many cases. And so it is good to start using string view as a parsed parameter for sure. You will never drop the length. It might get into problems like dangling references or pointing to memory which is freed. So you better not point it to something which will not live the entire lifetime of the string view object. If you make sure you have that, you can be safe home. Yes, and reap the benefits in the first graph which Mahendra showed. It is significant.
Thank you, Mahendra. Thank you, Ankur. Thank you, everyone. For Mahendra, a special thank you for you. You gave a wonderful session, and I hope everyone enjoyed this session and learned something new. Just a couple of points I want to add here. If you have not registered to this community, you have not filled a registration form, please fill that form. We'll share all those details in the mail and in this chat box also. And we'll share one feedback form. Please do add your valuable comments. And I will request everyone to join our Discord channel, and because there we discuss a lot about any C++ concepts and all that. Whatever, if you have any question related to string view, you can directly ask to Mahendra and discuss there. So having said all these things, I just want to add one last point, that we encourage everyone to come here to present here on some topic. So we'll share one form with everyone soon. You may expect that form in the next week. So please come forward as a speaker also and share with the community. So that's all. And I'll share that feedback form here also, so that you guys can directly go and fill this form. So that's all, and thank you everyone. Have a nice day.